members like the Souzas and against daycare operators like McMartin in California and Little Rascals in North Carolina. All these cases are based primarily on the word of children who, after the fact, had repeatedly been asked questions like this.
Do you remember that time when Mr. asked you to stick his penis in your mouth? Okay.
None of the child abuse investigators would agree to be interviewed for this story. Some clearly go too far.
You're pressing your pee-pee against me, you know. It feels good when you do that. Maybe, is that what they did too?
Steve Cece says the questioning in the Kelly Michaels case was just as leading as this.
They say to the child, "We want you to tell us what Kelly did." The kid says, "I don't remember." "Oh, yes, you do. You remember." "No, I don't remember." "You do so. We know you remember." At this point, the child's crying. "I want to get out of here. You're not going anywhere till you tell us what we know you want, what we know you know."
Basically, we're barraged with questions and coerced, manipulated, begged, made to feel guilty. It just was disgusting.
But where would the kids come up with saying things like, "She put the knife in my vagina," or "She covered me with peanut butter"?
Mm-hmm. Children have incredible imaginations, and it's not out of the realm. Anybody who is a parent who is honest knows what kids are capable of saying.
Ray and Shirley were astonished when they heard their grandchildren's testimony.
They said we used the machine as big as this whole house on them to violate them. We had a cage in the cellar that we locked them up. Never produced nothing.
But why would kids make such things up? That's what convinces juries. You hear those stories and you say, okay, maybe it's not all true. Maybe the machine wasn't as big as a house. Maybe Kelly Michaels didn't smear them all with peanut butter. Teachers would have smelled that. But there must be some truth to it. How could children come up with so many inventive, kinky activities and describe them with so many details unless something really happened? It's a persuasive argument until you hear about Cece's next experiment. He had researchers ask 4- and 5-year-olds to pick a card out of a deck of 10. On each card was a question.
Okay, Derek. This one says, have you ever seen a baby alligator eating apples on an airplane?
No.
No? Have you ever had your finger caught in a mousetrap and had to go to the hospital?
No.
No? Your class and...
At first, almost all the kids say no.
Mm-mm.
But then, once a week for the next 10 weeks, they ask the question again. No coercion, no leading questions, as in the child abuse cases. They just gently repeat the question.
You went to the hospital because your finger got caught in a mousetrap. Did that happen?
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
By week 4 or 6 or 10, most of the kids are saying, yes, it happened. And not just saying yes, but giving such precise information about it that you'd think it must have happened.
Did it hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah? Who took you to the hospital?
My daddy, my mommy, my brother.
So where in your house is the mousetrap?
It's up at our, down in the basement.
Down in the basement? What is it next to in the basement?
It's next to firewood.
Anyway, what you see here is a child who's given you a lot of perceptual detail. He's telling you where the mousetrap was. It was next to a wood pile in the basement. He had gone down there because he wanted to tell his dad, who was down there collecting firewood, that he was ready for lunch. He gets in an argument with his brother Colin, which he later goes on to describe. They were fighting over some action figure. Colin pushes him next to the wood pile. He doesn't see where his hand's going, and it gets caught in a mousetrap.
Were you surprised at the answers you got?
I think it's fair to say that my colleagues and I were absolutely shocked that by the 10th week, not only were they assenting to some of these things that didn't occur, but they were giving very coherent narratives, highly elaborated narratives that are, I think, quite persuadable.
By the time I met the same boy, it was weeks after the experiment, but he still could give lots of convincing details about things that never happened.
Was there a time when you got your finger caught in a mousetrap and had to go to the hospital?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, which finger was it?
Remember, this is the result after a researcher simply asked the question once a week for 10 weeks. In real abuse cases, kids are questioned for years, often by parents, doctors, then by the investigator, perhaps a therapist, then by lawyers.
Who went with you to the hospital?
my mom and my dad and my brother Colin, but not my baby. He was in my mom's tummy.
Your baby.
This boy's testimony is even more remarkable because just a few days earlier, his father had discussed the experiment with him. He'd explained that it was just a test and the whole mousetrap event had never happened. The boy agreed it was just in his imagination. Still, listen to this.
Let me ask you, did your father tell you something about the mousetrap finger story?
No,
Is it true? Did it really happen?
It wasn't a story. It really happened.
It's really happened? You really got your finger caught? It's really happened?
Yeah.
I assume the child isn't lying. They aren't intentionally making up stories.
Absolutely. I think they've come to believe it. It is part of their belief system.